How do you be hopeful when you've had years of heartache already? How do you be hopeful when you've had multiple losses already? This has to be the number one question I get asked. How did you stay hopeful, Bettina? How did you get through all those losses and stay hopeful that you were going to get your baby? And my answer isn't always what you want to hear. I know how hard it is to be hopeful. I have felt completely broken and like I would never be able to try again, and that I couldn't imagine ever giving it another go because my heart hurt too much. I have been there. And when you are there, the advice that I give is to take a break. You need to refuel your body, look after yourself physically, do some healing on your heart, get your head right because it's also a total mind mess. And then you need to come to a place where spiritually you're ready to try again, knowing that the outcome could be loss, but knowing that you're willing to risk it anyway. And when you're there, you can choose hope. You can choose to approach it with excitement and joy and positivity, or you can snowball and spiral and think of all the negatives and the reasons why it won't work. That is your choice. And I don't say that to be harsh because I know when you're struggling and when you're in that struggle, you can feel like, but how? I can't see that. And if you can't see it, please take a break. That is your sign that you need to rest and you need to heal and look after yourself. But if you are truly ready, then you get to choose hope. And the good news about that is you will choose hope over and over and over again because you're going to slip into self-doubt. Because you don't just choose hope and magically wake up and everything is rainbows and works out perfectly. You will still have to choose every day that hopeful outlook. So after my 3 losses, I fell pregnant again. And yes, there were many, many moments through Luca's pregnancy where I fell into self-doubt, where I fell into anxiety, where I spiraled and I worried and I did all those things. And then I picked myself up and I chose to be hopeful. And I chose to enjoy that pregnancy for as long as I was to get that pregnancy and that baby. And yes, I got lucky, but it doesn't always work that way. The only thing that you can control is how you choose to view it, how you choose to experience it, how you choose to feel about the situation, how you choose to respond, whether you choose hope or whether you choose negativity and doubt. Like I said, it doesn't mean those negative emotions are bad or you shouldn't experience them. I'm all about feeling those feelings, but I think you also need to choose practices and a way of living that help you to feel hopeful. That for me was journaling, getting out all of my crazy negative thoughts and then reframing in a positive way to write what I wanted to see. It was through a yoga practice that helped me release stress and feel good in my body so I could kind of get on this baseline to cope. It was prioritizing feeling good and happy and choosing joy in my life, writing a happy list and picking something from it every day to do that made me feel joyful and hopeful and excited. Not necessarily about a baby, just about my life, feeling hopeful and joy about my life. These are the things that worked for me. I hope that some of them might be helpful for you, but that doesn't necessarily mean these are the answers for you. You have to find your own way there. We have our own unique pieces of the puzzle that come together. So in today's practice, I just want to encourage you to notice where your mind is at. Is it in the negative, and can you draw it back to the positive and hopeful? Has it gone down that path of doubting and spiraling? Can you draw it back? And the answer is yes, you can always draw it back. And at first, it might want to keep going this way like a naughty puppy, and you keep drawing it back to the positive. And little by little, that becomes easier, that shift from negative to positive. It is a practice getting there. And certain things in your life will make that practice harder. But the more you build that muscle, that mind muscle to keep drawing back to the positive, the joyful, the hopeful, the better you'll get at it. So let's end our week together on this positive, hopeful note. Let's get into our bodies, do a little bit of movement, and just notice what's going on in our mind today. So we're going to start in a low squat today. And because this is our first pose and it's often quite an intense one to start in, I'm just going to rock from side to side. So for some of us, this is going to be stretching quite a lot through the hamstring and calf. That's okay. Through the inner thigh. Just want you to gently rock from side to side. And already I want you to notice, where's your mind? What's it thinking about? Is it just thinking about this pose and how awkward it is and how weird it feels? That's okay. Is it being negative? Can you draw it back to a more positive place and maybe focusing on the breath and how good it is to have some time to move your body today? So I don't need you to be hopeful straight away about your ability to have a baby. That can sometimes feel like a big stretch to go from being sad and disappointed to, I know I'm having a baby. Like, that's a really big jump. Let's do baby steps along the way. Baby steps about being positive that today is going to be a good day and that we can make today be a good day by choosing to look after ourselves well and choosing to do things that bring us joy and us happiness. Let's ground one hand. The other one is coming up. Let's find some space in the body. Breathing here, letting the belly be nice and soft. So this might be challenging you and you might be feeling like, oh, I don't like this pose. Can you bring it back to the positive, being grateful for a body that moves, grateful for a body that can stretch and expand and change. Let's go to the opposite side. Good. Let's bring both feet in towards each other. Bring the feet together, bring the knees together. And you'll probably have fingertips kind of resting towards the ground to start. And I want to challenge you to see if you can straighten up the back, which can be quite challenging. Your ankles might start to dance a little. See if you can find that length here. And just explore how you approach a challenge, a physical challenge, what the mind's doing. Is it okay to wobble and fall and fail a few times, or do you beat yourself up over it? Just notice. It's often a reflection of what we do day to day in everything that we do. Maybe we can shift our focus to those dancing ankles and find some joy in this moment. Good. Release it down. Let's do a big stretch out through those legs. Take both legs out in front of us. So if your hamstrings are really tight, you might need a little bend through the knees, and that's okay. Draw the toes back towards you, reach the arms up tall. Big breath in. And then gently fold forward from the hips. So the chest stays mostly upright and you should feel a really nice stretch down that back line of the body. And then I want you to see if you can release any tension through the head and neck. And then gently lean in, increasing the stretch little by little, not expecting our body to do too much too soon. If this is literally your first week of yoga and you've just finished your first 7 days, congratulations. It's really important not to try and push our bodies to do too much, but invite them to open. And in the same way, when we're trying to move into a more positive, hopeful frame of mind, there's no point pushing yourself there. If you push it, you'll be faking it and you won't truly feel it. Instead, I would rather you just focus on those small baby steps. Today, I'm going to choose to be hopeful, or this minute, I'm going to choose to be hopeful. That might be all you can sustain at the moment, and that's okay. Let yourself lean a little deeper. Notice that your body starts to give a little more the longer you stay with it. Just like your body, affirmations and positive thought can work the same. The more we come back to them, the more attention we give those positive thoughts, the more we start to believe them and feel them. Good. Sitting up straight, draw one knee in towards the chest. Fingertips are coming behind us, pointing towards the toes. Press into the feet, lift the hips up. If it feels okay in the head and neck, you can release the head behind you. Slowly release the hips down. Going to sit up. So let that knee fall out to the side. Reach the arms up to a big breath in. And then forward fold. You'll notice you go a little bit further now because you don't have two legs out in front. And enjoy the softening in here. Good, sitting upright, changing the swap of the legs. Fingertips pointing towards the toes, pressing into the feet, lift the hips. Bring the hips down. Let the knee fall out to the side, sitting up tall. Exhale, fold. Good, sitting up. I'm going to get you to bring yourself to a wall now. I'm just going to find a comfortable seat. So we're using the wall as a little bit of support. I want you to press the shoulder blades in and encourage yourself to sit up tall here. You might like to bring the hands onto the low belly if that feels nice, or leave them comfortably in the lap. Whatever feels better for you. And start by taking long, full, deep breaths. I want you to allow yourself now to imagine yourself at 80. Imagine yourself sitting in your home, reflecting back on your life. Reflect on your childhood, your teenage years, your time as a young adult, starting work, meeting your partner, falling in love. Allow yourself to witness your struggle through infertility and your joy at creating a family. And feel your joy as your family grows and life moves on in the mind's eye. Reflecting back on all the challenges throughout your entire life that you've overcome, that you've been strong enough to get through. Allow yourself to feel joy at all the beautiful people you met along the way, who supported you and who you supported them. All the amazing experiences you've had. The places you've been. Let yourself imagine all those tiny moments, those beautiful moments where you catch your heart in your throat. And nothing really might be happening, but it just gives you so much joy. It might be the sunlight reflecting of someone you love. It might be a small act of service from someone. It might be uncontrollable laughter, a joke you can't remember now, but you remember that feeling as your belly hurt from the pain of laughing. Allow yourself to look back on your life, all the joyful moments. And yes, throughout them, there is heartache and pain, struggle. But there is also beauty, happiness, joy. And we can choose to focus on those beautiful, joyful moments. Or we can stay focused on all the things that didn't work out. But what fun would that be? Allow your 80-year-old self who has just witnessed your entire life in reverse. Allow your 80-year-old self who is reflecting on the beautiful, painful, wonderful life she has lived to give you the wisdom of hindsight. What would she say to you now through this struggle? What would she say to do? How to stay hopeful? How to keep focused on the joy? Listen to what she has to say. This part of you, this deep wisdom. And then thank her. Thank her for the gift of strength and of knowing that you will survive all of it. You will make it through and look back on your life with joy and love and laughter. And you'll be grateful for it all. And you're ready to allow yourself to flutter the eyes open and come back into your body. You may like to do a little bit of journaling now, writing down how that little visualization exercise made you feel, perhaps what you saw, anything that came up for you. It has been an absolute honor to spend the last 7 days with you. Thank you for sharing your practice with me. If you are brand new to fertility yoga, if this has been your first 7 days, I do have a free fertility yoga guide that will be linked below. And make sure that you subscribe to my channel because I release yoga classes, tools, and practices for fertility, for pregnancy, for birth, and for motherhood. Thanks again for being here, and I'll see you soon. Namaste.